Hello, relatives. Welcome to the shared experience. My name is Raven, and today I'd like to share my experience with you. So, today's video, I would like to share what my path to spiritual development has been. Primarily because that is probably going to largely be the focus of my life moving forward. It already has been the biggest influence on my life for the last 3 years. But obviously, all of us are developing spiritually from birth. I have been going through a lot of changes since my initial spiritual awakening occurred probably about 5 years ago. I wouldn't even call it initial, but I would say where things took a more serious turn, where I had started to consider living my life as a spiritual person in all aspects. So whether it's work or home or everyday personal experiences. I have probably largely ignored a lot of my calling as a spiritual person, spiritual being, spiritual practitioner, or messenger. It's more like what I prefer to call it. I really think that I had been called to spiritual development when I was young, but I didn't really have anyone to guide me through that. I grew up Catholic. I was baptized Catholic. I went to Catholic school until 8th grade. I don't have any of that belief still with me today, other than I do believe in Jesus. I do believe in Mary. I do believe that Jesus's life is an example of how suffering is guaranteed for all of us, but it's not necessary, right? Like, I get it. Like, suffering's not necessary, but I think it's guaranteed for all of us. I basically removed myself from anything Catholic when I was I left Catholic school at 8th grade and never really looked back. But my mom was a strict Catholic, I guess I would say. So, it was always part of our lives, even after we grew up, became adults. Not that we were churchgoers or anything like that, but when I was younger, I would say it was probably more frequent than any time after. So, having said that, I left the Catholic Church behind like 25 years ago. Primarily because, my initial reasoning for walking away from that, I guess, faith, religion, is because I knew right away that they didn't accept people for who they were. And I knew that there were a lot of rules that needed to be followed and certain expectations. And I knew that the church wasn't accepting of all people. The Catholic Church wasn't accepting of all people. I knew that there was a lot of hypocrisy in the Catholic Church just from my own experience. So that's like, there's no question for me about why I left that behind, or, you know, there's nothing else really to say about it besides I was Catholic. Now I'm not. But I was also raised to follow indigenous culture, and I grew up learning about more spiritual aspects of life. I went to powwows. I used to dance in powwows. I was a traditional fancy dancer. I really tried my best to stay with that belief system, and even though, you know, my family wasn't necessarily practicing those ways, I still followed it in my heart. And I still did my own research, and I still found my own people to connect me with those same things. So kind of fast forward to like this life-changing sort of year, was in 2017. I had been going through a lot, but I didn't really realize or acknowledge or take the time to understand that I had been going through a lot of emotional struggles and a lot of internal turmoil and things, and I did a lot of ignoring of my feelings and my instincts. You know, I did a lot of that, which I think a lot of people do. You know, a lot of people do ignore their emotions, or they ignore signs, symbols, synchronicities, animals. You know, I think we're sort of conditioned sometimes to ignore those things, or like no one actually can present any sort of evidence for us to believe in those things. And that's just it, is like, for me, you don't really need the evidence. Like, that's the whole point of the mystical and the spiritual, is like, it's not really meant to be defined. It's not really meant to be seen clearly. It's not really meant to be exactly what you think it is. You know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like subtle energies, subtle messages, animal messengers, spirit messengers, like, it's not meant to be perfectly clear. And that's like the whole point, is like, it's not meant to be seen directly. It's meant to inspire you to follow what's not seen. And I think like last year, or whenever the James Webb telescope came out, like, that really helped me like confirm or solidify, because like I said, I don't really have an outside source. Like, I don't have like a teacher or a guru or somebody who's like, working with me, supporting me, mentoring me, whatever. Like, I'm just developing myself. But when the James Webb Telescope started revealing the first pictures that were like these massive star mountains, I guess. And when they explained that how the camera works, they have to use a special filter in order for us to see all of these massive star creations and galaxy origins and deep outer space life or beings. I was so emotional and so taken back by them because I'm like, so for my husband, right? My husband, he's kind of like, he believes, and he understands and he feels, but there's no evidence, there's no like solid, this is exactly what you're seeing. This is what it means, But when we watched those pictures together and I explained to him like the way I was thinking about it and why I was so emotional and inspired and like almost validated, right? I felt validated by those James Webb Telescope pictures because it was proof that you don't have to see everything for it to be real, right? So they use a special filter to enhance the photos because a lot of the colors and the lights that are visible out in outer space aren't capturable by our human eye, right? And it also like confirms and validates that we live in a parallel universe, like the physical world and the spiritual world live together. Granted, we may not be able to see them or the energy or entities. It doesn't mean that they're not there. Like, I don't know why for me, like, it was just that simple. Like, watching those photos be revealed and watching them explain how the camera worked and how we're able to view the images, it just made so much sense to me. And then seeing the colors that are out way out in outer space like correspond to our chakras, the energy that lives out there is far more intense than anything that we experience here on earth. So it's just like, I don't know, it was just inspiring. It was emotional. It was validating. It was like freeing in a sense for me. So I think it just like confirmed that I am allowed to believe in something that I can't see. And for everybody who was doubting, spirituality or spirit or how people are channeling messages, how people are reading tarot, how people are able to communicate or have a sense of knowing without actually having evidence. And another thing about it is that it did start me to question science in a sense. Like, I do appreciate science, like 100%. I do appreciate science. I have a mad respect for it. It's very expansive. It's very wordy. It's very, exclusive. So I respect science 100%. Like, as a nurse, I am still a licensed nurse. I have respect for science, but what it did make me not feel so good about, I guess, was I felt like science was, in a sense, science is about knowing everything, you know? And I think some things are not meant to be known. Some things are not meant to be seen. Some things are meant to be mysterious. They're meant to be dark. They're meant to be gray. They're meant to not be figured out. So, in some ways, it's also made me respect the universe even more because, one, like, we're not in control of anything, right? Two, it helped confirm, like, there are no accidents. And three, it gave me, like, this new respect for not knowing something. So, like, you know, I think society, when someone says they don't know something or they didn't know this, or they're being rude or ignorant because they didn't know, or, you know, whatever. Like, there's lots of things we don't know about other people or situations. So I feel like, you know, being able to see so far out into the galaxies and being able to see, like, what they think is our origin place, makes me feel like we're not necessarily supposed to be seeing it. You know, like, they just put a camera out in outer space and they're nosying around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like, just seems a little invasive. But as I said, I respect the photographs. They've given me this whole new, you know, outlook on my purpose, how small I am in the world, how significant small things can be, and I don't know, like, something about space just gives me this new outlook. So anyways, so how I'm linking these James Webb Telescope photos to my spiritual journey is that it really confirmed the subtle energies that are there in the world, that exist. It helped me understand that not everything has to be seen or explained. And it also helped me, like, sort of question science in a sense where maybe we're going too far. Maybe we know too much already. Maybe we're invading, you know, our plan. We're invading our future. We're invading the natural wonder of the world. So, you know, ultimately, space has helped me validate my spiritual experiences even more than I ever thought it could. And while other people may think, like, the complete opposite of, like, space as, like, it has to be, like, exact, everything has to be figured out, everything has to be, you know, we need to know why. And, you know, I think it's just made me more uncomfortable in some ways with how much we do know already, and, you know, how much we're trying to explain, and it's probably not really necessary. But I am appreciative of the amazing view that we've gotten from space. Okay, so moving on. I started to notice that a lot of my emotions were being ignored, and I didn't really know how to, I guess interpret would be the right word. I didn't really know how to interpret my emotions. I didn't really know how to interpret, understand my feelings. I didn't know how to honor them. I didn't know what they were telling me. I didn't know why I was so anxious. I didn't know that a lot of these feelings weren't even my feelings. And I don't know. I've just been like putting together how like we can have such powerful emotions inside of us. Some of us, right? Not all of us are emotional people. Some of us are trained not to be emotional. But I think it just has been causing me to question, like, how could these emotions be so powerful and so significant and so, like, they can affect your thoughts, they can affect your actions, they can affect your moods if you let them, everybody, if you let your emotion, but some of us, it really takes a long, long, long time to get control of your emotions. That's my point. Or to read your emotions, or to understand your emotions, or to understand how you can pick up on other people's emotions and think that they're yours and they're not. So yeah, my emotions have been like a big part of my spiritual development and journey. And most importantly, my emotions have led me down the path of channeling. Because I would be channeling and not know I was channeling. I would be getting like downloads and messages, and I would just like keep them all inside. And then I started to realize that holding on to these emotions, holding on to these downloads, holding on to these feelings isn't helpful for me, and it's not helpful for whoever these messages are meant for. So, basically, the whole reason why I wanted to do the spiritual journey reflection is because I am going to start channeling messages and I'm going to start sharing them. And I think I just want people to have a little bit of background on me and where I come from, because obviously I think anybody could, turn on their camera and just start recording messages and just be complete BS. And, I guess for myself, I like to have at least some conscious concept that I have addressed my spiritual journey, that people can understand where I'm coming from when I am channeling these messages. If they wish to go back and at least look at some explanation of my spiritual journey. And even myself as a person, like I couldn't even put myself out there and not say like who I am, where I've been, what I'm about. Like that's all. I don't know. I feel like it's important, at least for me, on my channel, I would at least like to have a reference, a point of reference for anyone who wishes to say, who is this person? What has she been doing? How do I know that, she knows what she's talking about, which I don't really know what I'm talking about. I mean, we're all in this together here, but for the most part, like, I try my best to really be careful what I say, when I say it, why I'm saying it, what's making me feel or think a certain way. I really explore and reflect on all these things. So for me personally, it just feels better. It feels more authentic. It feels more genuine to have at least some kind of introduction to my spiritual journey. Okay, so back to my point again. My spiritual development has really been an ongoing situation. My emotions have really just kind of overtaken my life at some point. Like, they had just kind of been real significant. I started to add back up. So probably about 5 years ago, like I said, when I started going through a lot of these things, emotional changes, just wanting to recluse myself, more because I wasn't sure, I wasn't sure what I was feeling, what I was sensing, what I was knowing. But anyways, like, I would start to get these like messages about people, and or it would just be like a hit, like it would like be like, okay, so my brother was killed in 2017. The few months before this happened, he had been coming to my house, and we would talk and have these conversations, and he was an emotional person too. And I think, he probably didn't know how he was feeling. And sometimes I think people didn't always understand him. That hits me right in my heart. And I think I just wished that when he passed away, after he passed away, of course, we all go look back at things people said and did, Looking back, everything is clear. But I think I just wished that I could have made him feel like I understood him. And not that I didn't. Like, I wasn't rude to him. I never, didn't listen to what he had to say or anything. Like, he was my older brother, so I always respected him and appreciated his, support and love and protection. But I think after he passed away, like, it really opened up a lot of things for myself, and I could relate to how he was feeling. And like, when he was coming over that summer, like, so much has changed for the better in his life, and it seemed like he was in a good place, and I just never expected that to happen. And I never expected it to happen the way it did because it was pretty tragic. But now I'm realizing like why things happened the way they did, and I realize that I relate to him even more, you know, and what he was going through. So just to kind of skip over, you know, the trauma from that, I went through some more like difficult things, and I really bottled a lot of things up and just, you know, kept trying to live life, and nothing was working, you know, like nothing was working. And I was frustrated, and, you know, it was just like a collapse. You know, it was just like everything collapsed. It was like, I hate nursing. I hate education. I hate the system. I hate, you know. So after my brother passed, I was in a master's program, and I did a lot of research and writing, and it was like the more I learned about what healthcare was all about and what the system was all about and how it was set up, I just really got turned off by people trying to make it out to be this great thing. And I think I just got really fueled by injustice. And I started writing about a lot of things that nobody else in my 100 students like cared about, you know? But I just kept writing about it, and I was like, maybe I'm supposed to be writing about this stuff. And I got so passionate about how the healthcare system contributes to a lot of the negative things that happen to people. It's not really a system that's set up to be healthy. How else can I say it? Just to put it in a simple term. So anyway, fast forward. I'm not in healthcare anymore. I haven't worked in healthcare since 2021. But I still maintain my license. My license is still in good standing. You know, I still get passionate about health and healthcare and stuff, but it's not the focus of my life anymore. So I moved more into like exploring spirituality, trying to find myself again, trying to remove myself from roles and things that I have put on myself that really don't define me, but I let them, you know, I was letting them define me. So now I'm just this like raw person who has been without social media, without internet, without, you know, any teacher or anything. So last fall I enrolled in shaman school, and I had been like going back and forth about shamanism like for about a year, I think. And I really found that I connected with it 100%. And while I was in school for shamanism. My mom got really sick. My mom passed away in February, and been working through that, but you know, I think that I've just found different ways to strengthen and develop my spiritual calling, right? Long story short, let's just say that. Long story short, I feel like I've been able to develop myself spiritually on my own through so many different things. And I think the way YouTube presents spirituality, sometimes it can seem overwhelming, or sometimes it can seem like you're less than, or sometimes it can seem like you don't know where to start. And really, for me, I think it all started with like the pain. Like, I had to be broken open for me to seek it out myself. Which is also another reason why I wanted to make the video, because I do think that a lot of people have to develop themselves spiritually on their own. They may not necessarily have a group that they belong to. They may not have a set of people they feel comfortable with. And I don't think that should deter people from developing themselves spiritually. But you have to have some reference of someone else who's done it, you know, on their own. And lots of people have done it on their own. It's not just me. But I just feel like I'm offering you a little bit of a unique perspective because of the way I came into it, the way I've been doing it, and where I'm at right now. So ultimately, this video is meant to encourage people to begin to honor their pain, honor their emotions, their feelings, use the challenges in your life to push you towards something greater, right? Because all of us have great potential. It's just some of us need a little more like guidance than others. Some people can go like raging out into everything and they're like, yes, I get it. And then some of us are like, still not sure, you know, what path is mine. But I 100% can say that I follow earth-based religion. I follow earth-based religion. I believe in what is physical and what is non-physical. I believe what is seen and what is unseen. I believe in subtle energy. I believe in trusting how you feel in places. I believe that earth-based religion needs to be a part of everyone. And I really, really, really believe in old ancient ways and traditions. So that is just one small part of my spiritual journey and my development. The video didn't exactly go how I wanted it to, but I think I got out everything that I wanted to say and hopefully help someone in some way. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a like. And until next time, the saga continues.